Hey, what is going on, everyone? This is your host, TARODCAST, and you are now tuned in to TARODCAST. For all the brand new listeners listening to our show for the very first time, welcome. For all of the returning listeners coming back for another weekly dose of TARODCAST greatness, welcome back. At TARODCAST, you can take everything we say with a grain of salt. We simply just want to add some flavor to your meal. So if we're doing that, then we are doing our job. Today's episode comes hot on the heels of a very pressing situation between two celebrities. One who is married to a leading man in Hollywood, and the other who is the other man in a supposed relationship that may culminate in a red table talk. So without further ado, today's episode is We're Not Ready for That Conversation, Part 1. This is TARODCAST. Let's get it. All right, everyone. Welcome and welcome back. This is your host, TARODCAST, and actually I need to go ahead and call myself Chardonnay'Rod. We're just going to keep it all the way 100 right there. I've had some Chardonnay and I'm feeling really good, and I cannot wait to dive into this subject with you guys because, again, I feel like the majority of us are not ready for this conversation. That's why I am now going to introduce a series of We're Not Ready for This Conversation type episodes. So that way, whenever you see it, you already know this episode is going to be filled with some things that may rub some people the wrong way. It may not sit well with people who think a certain way, and I get it and I understand. My main goal here with this platform is to inspire conversations that, whether you agree or not, it at least gets you thinking, it at least gets you talking, and potentially thinking about perspectives that are unlike your own. And so that's the goal of this conversation. So with that being said, yeah, there's going to be many more in this series, but I just wanted to let y'all know that right now, this is part 1. We're not ready for this conversation. Part 1. It starts today. It starts today. But other than that, I hope that everybody's doing well. I hope that everybody is flourishing and being blessed and making it through their days, their weeks. I hope that even this podcast in and of itself allows you to make it through your week just a little bit easier. That is the main goal. And so if we're able to do that, then again, we're doing our job. We want to be able to just give you something to think about. And that is the main objective of TARODCAST. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take care of our housekeeping details. And then after that, we will get right into the subject. So if you would like to take our show with you on the go, just know that we are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Podchaser, Castbox, Podcast Addict, iHeartRadio, Deezer, and YouTube. TARODCAST is also on Throne. Throne is a free live messaging application that allows us here at TARODCAST to exclusively reach our listeners. Make sure to sign up if you'd like to keep the conversations going after the episode. If you're also looking for natural oils for ultimate hydration and care for your hair and skin, hit up the Resilient Lotus at www.theresilientlotus.com. And if you are a lover of authentic chunky salsas, make sure to reach out to Morenitas Salsitas. She has introduced her tacos. I've had them. I have ordered more, and they will be here on Tuesday. So very, very appreciative of this new menu item because it is completely like out of this world. I love it. And then lastly, for those of you who are looking for makeup styles and looking for different looks for this summer, make sure to hit up our friend Jazzed by Jackie, and her information will also be in the show notes as well, alongside all the other information, because as you know, we keep all of our information in our show notes. So make sure to look there in case you need anything when it comes to these awesome businesses that are right here in Oklahoma City. All right, so okay, yeah, I have to take a deep breath on this one, because I honestly believe that the majority of us, and when I say us, I mean Black Americans, we're not ready for this conversation. So let's go ahead and give a little bit of background. So as far as what I'm referencing here, if you have kept up with the Smith family, Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, Willow, Jaden, Trey, that entire family, including the blended family elements that are a part of this family and make up this family, you'll see that when it comes to this family in particular, they are not only a successful family, but a family that is very unorthodox as far as how they believe and how they see a lot of different things when it comes to life. And so one of the biggest things that I have been able to observe is Jada Pinkett's red table talks that have been occurring on Facebook. And I've watched quite a few of them. And to be quite honest, I really like the format of this forum. I like the format of this production, because it gives people the opportunity to come to a safe space to communicate those things that they otherwise feel like they wouldn't be able to communicate, in the presence of people that are looking to understand and looking to find the reasoning and the logic behind what it is that this person is bringing to this red table. And I think that as a concept, that is something that's very refreshing. I've watched a lot of episodes, and it allows me to see the inner workings of people and the things that actually go on inside of their minds that they do not have the strength or the confidence to just say out loud. I've seen people on this production that I do agree with. I've seen people that I don't agree with. But at the same time, what I do appreciate is the fact that this forum gives them the opportunity to voice their opinions without backlash. And I think that that's awesome. I think that being able to have a public safe space where a lot of these ideas can be communicated without reservation, I think that that is awesome. And more people, we need that type of space where we can actually go and we don't have to worry about being judged, and we don't have to worry about being condemned or looked at as if we are less than, because there are things that maybe other people wouldn't understand about us, but we don't have anybody else to go to in order to communicate these things. And so I think that the red table talk is necessary, because you're not only getting the perspective of Jada Pinkett Smith, you're getting her mom, you're getting her daughter, so you're getting at least 3 generations worth of perspective when it comes to the situation that's being brought to this table. And so I think that when it comes to this type of medium, it's something that's necessary. It's something that is beneficial, especially if it allows conversations to organically develop and for people to feel comfortable with expressing themselves and being and feeling confident with expressing everything that they feel, because so many people, we repress things and we hold things inside of us, and sometimes those things they continue to accumulate and at some point they explode out of us, and sometimes that can be very unhealthy. And so we need these avenues that will allow us to express ourselves in an environment where we don't feel like we are being judged based upon what we're saying, and that our feelings are actually important. And so again, this type of medium, I feel, is necessary both on the public sense and also in the private sense. And so this is also, where I think about therapists and how so many people in my community, we are in desperate need of therapy. We talk about reparations and things like that all the time. Well, if we're ever going to get reparations, I feel like one of the things that needs to be included in that package alongside the money is therapy, because there is so much therapy that is needed in our community, because so many of us believe that we are continuous and perpetual victims to a society that is out to get us, to a man that's out to get us. And the thing is, I understand where that comes from. I also understand that when you are able to rid yourself of that, you realize that you also have a stake in your own destiny. You are the one behind the wheel of your own destiny, and it's not anybody else but you. So you have to also take into consideration the decisions you make when it comes to formulating your own path to reaching your destiny. And so, there's a lot of therapy that needs to happen. There's a lot of red table talks that need to happen in our lives as people. And until we are able to establish that, there's going to be a lot of hurt. Hurt people are going to hurt people all the time, and we're not going to have any way of getting out those things that need to be released, so that way we can let go and actually gain understanding to those parts of ourselves that we have regressed and held on to, that we couldn't allow anybody else to experience because we did not understand. We had a fear of whether or not they would be able to comprehend what it is that we're giving them. And so when I think about this, it's like, yes, these types of conversations, these types of real emotional conversations need to happen at the base level where we are. And until that happens, unfortunately, we are always going to be stuck in this emotional merry-go-round of not being understood. And we're going to continue to hold information that needs to be communicated, because so many of us lack the skills to empathize with someone who is actually bringing something that is entirely real to them. And in doing so, we lack the ability to not make them feel judged. We lack the ability to make them feel understood, whether or not we understand the entirety of their situation or not. And so I feel like that really needs to be addressed. Being able to just simply listen, to know where someone is coming from at the base level. And if they feel confident enough to tell you about something that is deeply personal, that is met with an understanding of the value of this information. Because if there's one thing that I know, it's that when it comes to someone's feelings and emotions and how they feel about a situation, that frames how they look at not only the world, but the people in the world based on these things they've experienced. I find that to be incredibly important. Because these are people, this whole thing, these are people who are living life, whether we can actually identify with the life that they're living or not. These are people, that are living life in such a way where their stories need to be heard. Whether you understand it or not, their stories need to be heard. And so when I think about the Red Table, I think about the fact that this is a platform that is needed all across the board in every state, not just on Facebook, where we can tune in and just hear the latest gossip about celebrities' lives. No. This needs to be something that is available to everyone, whether it's a red table or not. It needs to be something that is available to everyone, so that way no one has to ever endure the feeling of, I have to hold this in until I find someone that I believe will actually understand where I'm coming from. And the thing is, we have to have an empathetic heart. We have to have a spirit of understanding in order to create that type of atmosphere, because sad to say it, and many of us will not admit it at all, because we want to portray this perpetual image of strength. But a lot of us are hurting. A lot of us are hurting. A lot of us have been victims to atrocities that never should have happened to us. A lot of us have been victims to people who have betrayed us. People that we were supposed to love, that we were taught to love, that we expected would have our back. We have been victims to their treachery, to their disloyalty. And they have affected us in a way where when we look at life, it's not hard for us to see that pessimism. It's not hard for us to see that negativity. It's not hard for us to be jaded about life. And we have to understand that. We have to understand that. But we also owe it to ourselves to create atmospheres where all of that is welcome, especially in its most real and harshest form. Because, sad to say it, trauma is not something that is sophisticated. It's raw. Trauma is raw. And if you're not ready for that raw shit, then you don't have any business trying to listen to anybody's story. If you're not ready for that raw, if you're not empathetic to that raw, then you're not ready to listen to anybody's story. And that's what I believe. Because if I think about my personal life and who I was, and in contrast with who I am now, I know that in the beginning stages of me trying to understand, I was not equipped to handle the raw, because I was still looking at life based on my own understanding and my own values and what I thought was right. But now that I'm officially 30, it's like, you know what, I'm getting to that level where it's like, you know what, I understand everybody has their own story. And if they bring their story to me, I want to hear about it. I want to know about it. Take me through each page. I want to know about every detail. Because if you feel that communicating this with me gives you that opportunity to be open and to be honest and to be carefree and to trust me with that information, I want you to feel that the entire time, and that information is not only safe, but sacred. That's where I am in my life. And unfortunately, not a lot of people are there. A lot of people want information just so they can gossip about it, just so they can call friends and family members and tell them what they heard. But that's not me. That's not me. And so when I think about the fact that so many of us are not ready for these conversations, I think about that as well. But I'm going to go into the direct correlation to this particular topic after our break. So I hope that you all have your water or your wine. I've got my Chardonnay next to me. Chardonnay'Rod's talking and hosting this podcast right now, so he's feeling kind of good right now. But I hope that you all are able to take a sip, stay hydrated, And we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break. So, with that being said, we're going to dive deeper into this subject and why we're actually talking about why we are not ready for these conversations. This is TARODCAST, and we'll be right back. Yo, what's good, everyone? This is your host of TARODCAST, Rashad, and I just want to welcome you to the commercial break. Now, you already know what time it is. It's hydration time. Get some high-quality H2O in your system now. Got a few things I'd like to go over. First, to all of our new and returning listeners, thank you so much for your ear and your time. To all of our Patreon supporters, I just want you to know that we are not able to do this without your direct support. So the biggest, dopest TARODCAST thank you goes out to you. If you're listening in and you're thinking about becoming part of the TARODCAST Patreon family, we'd love to have you. You can find us at www.patreon.com/TARODCAST. Now on Patreon, we have 3 tiers of support. A $2 tier, a $3 tier, and lastly, a $6 tier. Each tier comes with its own set of unique perks, so if you find one that fits you, sign up. For us, the main thing is keeping our subscription prices affordable. We know that you work hard for your money, and if you choose to support TARODCAST this way, we truly want to make it worth your time. To find out more about our Patreon and the perks with each tier, visit www.patreon.com/TARODCAST. We've got it all laid out for you. Also, we've got a merchandise store. Pick up some tees, hoodies, leggings, and more at forevercertain.redbubble.com. All proceeds go right back into the TARODCAST podcast and allow us to keep making high quality content for people just like you. For our listeners out there who would like to support us in a non-monetary way, we'd love that too. Share our show with people you know. Also, share us on your social media. And if your favorite TARODCAST streaming service allows you to rate and review our show and you're loving what you're hearing, take some time and leave us a 5-star review. Ratings and reviews are what set us apart from other podcasts and also helps us to recommend our podcast to other listeners we otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity to reach. Lastly, if you'd like to reach out to us directly, email us at TARODCAST@CRTN-T.com. That's TARODCAST@CRTN-T.com. All of this information can always be found in our episode notes, so make sure to check there if you forget any of the information we just went over. Once again, thank you all so much, and let's get back to the program. All right, y'all. Welcome back. I hope that you all were able to get hydrated. This is TARODCAST. Again, I'm your host, Chardonnay'Rod. And so we're going to go ahead and continue with the subject matter. So now getting to the crux of this situation, social media was basically set afire. It was lit ablaze when an interview with pop and R&B singer August Alsina came out with Angela Yee, and he was talking about the relationship that he had allegedly with Jada Pinkett Smith. And for those of us who know about the Smith family and have actually kept up with how they are and how they do things, we understand that they are a very unorthodox family. They are a very free-spirited family. You look at the kids, you look at Jaden and Willow, you know, and you see them and how they are with one another, and also how they are just separately, and it's very freedom based. And you look at Will and Jada as well, and if you watch some of their conversations and interviews, you can begin to infer that their relationship is very open. One of the things that I can recall in their relationship when they actually appeared on Jada's Red Table Talk, when Will was there, they were talking about the fact that they are more so concerned with if you can look in the mirror and be okay with who you are and what you're doing, and that's all that matters. And so, you know, one person can be, in one part of the house with a person, and the other person could be in another part of the house with another person. But the thing is that the loyalty that they have to one another, it's like, you know what, if in this moment you need that person for whatever it is that you need them for, okay, that's great. But the thing is, can you look at yourself in the mirror and be okay with who you are? And that's the main question. That's the thing that I really want to talk about, because with August Alsina coming out and having this interview with Angela Yee, there were a lot of things in this interview that really stuck out to me. And to me, being someone who is a practicing empath, I look at August Alsina and not only what he's saying and how he's saying it when it comes to his relationship with Jada Pinkett Smith. And I think about the fact that when it comes to what he was saying and the level of intimacy, there's a strong part of me that believes that was real, because I feel like watching him and observing him, the level of emotion that he was willing to bear in order to describe the relationship that he had, it's completely opposite of someone who is trying to dismiss a person or hurt a person, because he didn't say anything to downplay Jada or the Smith family. And so because he didn't do that, it shows that there was a level of intimacy that was respected in his mind. And the pain that he felt when it came to trying to break away from a situation that left him spiritually fulfilled, but he knew it wasn't going to go where he wanted it to go. And I remember seeing Jada Pinkett's response on Twitter saying that there needs to be a red table talk about all of this. And it's like, it wasn't hard to infer. We know what she was talking about, because as soon as this interview actually went live is when she said something about it. And so right now, here in this moment, we are still awaiting the red table talk that features Jada, where Jada is a special guest and she actually speaks about this entire situation. Because we all know, well, those of us who actually pay attention, we know that Will and Jada, when it comes to their relationship, they are open. And for many people, because they're open, it goes against every traditional thought that could ever be associated with relationships. And that's the thing. You know, there are so many people out here, so many people who look like me out here, who are so quick to dismiss the idea of a marriage or a relationship being open. And we have no idea what that could actually do. Because if anything, for me, when it comes to how I feel about open relationships, when I think about open relationships in general, I feel like if it works for you and it gives you the fulfillment and it gives you the opportunity to experience and to grow and to learn, then I'm all for it. Do what you do. Do what you do, because I have no right to tell you how to live your life. Because if you are able to experience the deepest side of a person and you're able to give that back to them, then I don't have any issue with what you decide to do. Because as people, as we live here in this life, there are experiences that we will never think to have, that we will never allow ourselves to have. And so I can see the logic behind it. I can see how experiencing someone's energy is important. How being someone who can get lost in that moment because you as a person, your energy is just meshing and melding with another person, and their energy is feeding you and your energy is feeding them. Like, I understand what that could mean and how that can impact you in a positive way. And so when I think about that, when I think about Jada and August Alsina and this alleged relationship that is currently being put at the celebrity forefront, I think about the fact that, you know what? Maybe they had something way deeper, something that allowed them to connect in a way that was only meant for them. And the thing that I understand is that when it comes to life, there are going to be people that you encounter that can only reach you in a certain way, in a special way. And so to be open to that is to be accepting of everything that could bring. And to accept that means that a part of your soul belongs to them and a part of their soul belongs to you. It's part of that undeniable connection that we have as humans. I'm not talking about people who are just going out here having random one-night stands and just seeing whose, pants or panties they can get into, this night or this week. I'm not talking about that. I'm actually talking about the connections that matter. The connections that allow you to feel that everything that you are experiencing is right in this moment. That's what I'm talking about. And so when I think about the potential relationship that Jada and August Alsina had, it takes me back to the fact that I also understand that even though they didn't just completely say it, Will and Jada have an open relationship. And many of us have no idea what that really entails. And so after we take our next break, we're going to go deeper into that. We're going to summarize that because that's something that I feel like we really need to understand in order to really understand this situation and also what it means as far as my observations of those who have open relationships. So I still hope that you have your water close by. Take another sip and we'll be right back. This is TARODCAST. All right, y'all. Welcome back. This is TARODCAST, and this is your host, Rashawn. Hopefully you didn't forget my name, but we are going to talk about what it really means, like what this whole situation really means and how I feel about this, because this is one of the things that for me, it's very personal because we're dealing with people's ideas of happiness and what makes them happy. And so as far as what I have learned about those who are in open relationships, it has nothing to do with comparing someone to the person that you're with. You know, I had a podcast episode talking about staying in your lane. And so the thing is, those who are in open relationships, everybody has their own lane. They don't merge. You don't look at your main person, and then you look at your person who you have just encountered, and you don't blend the two lanes, because what you see with the person that you have decided to go through life with is different than somebody that you have encountered, and you're experiencing a different kind of energy, and they feed you a different type of energy. Like it's different. They have their own lanes, and they're not supposed to merge, you know? And so the thing is, this type of thought process, it takes a lot of emotional maturity in order to adopt. It takes a lot of emotional fortitude in order to carry out. And so when I think about this whole Smith situation, it makes me, it helps me to understand, just going back to the August Alsina interview, just listening to him, and the fact that not once did he slander Jada Pinkett at all. He was more so talking about himself and his own emotions and the things that he believed that he needed to do in order to make himself feel fulfilled and to put himself on the path that he needs to be on. And I can respect that. Because in many situations, you know, I remember seeing this post on Facebook, and it was talking about a lot of people are in open relationships. It's just that their partner don't even know it. And that right there is incredibly concerning to me. Because from what I see about open relationships, the level of communication that they have, the level of loyalty that they have, the level of trust that they have is on a completely different plane than what people in traditional relationships are ever able to muster. And I truly believe that, because the level of communication that they have in order to make sure that everyone in their relationship feels important and feels heard and is understood. I'm like, that is a completely different region of the brain that many people have yet to even tap into. Because again, so many people believe that they are the end all be all, and that they are all the lanes as opposed to just one. And so many people can be attracted to other people for so many different reasons that have nothing to do with who you are. But we're not okay with that. We still seek jealousy in that. Because why can't we be everything? Why can't we change wigs and be everything that you want? Why can't we get a haircut and be everything you want? No, we are all different. We are all different, and we all reach people for different reasons. And that's one thing that I can confidently say when it comes to my understanding of staying in your lane. Because you reach someone on a different level. You reach someone for specific reasons when you understand the lane that you're in. Now, I'm not saying that open relationships are for everybody. It's like, if that's not for you, I can respect that. But I also respect the happiness that people who are in open or polyamorous relationships, I can respect the happiness that they feel. Because for them, it's real. It is something that they have been able to explore and find happiness within. And because they're able to do that, I'm not going to knock it. I'm not going to knock the Smiths for how they live life. Because if it works for them, if they are at their ultimate happiness, then who am I to judge? Because a lot of people have been saying really horrible things about Jada, but they are also the same people who are emotionally immature to even try and understand the type of relationship that she's in and what she is allowed to do and what Will is allowed to do. Because they don't have those expectations of one another. What they simply ask is, can you look in the mirror and be okay with who you are? And that's the thing. Therein lies the rub. That's my favorite phrase. Can you look in the mirror and be okay with who you are? And that's not necessarily keeping it a secret. It's being able to communicate that and believe with all of your heart that this is okay. A lot of people miss that. A lot of people think about open relationships and they just want to be with whomever and do whatever. And I'm like, as far as what I've observed, that's not the case, because communication is key. All the videos and people that I've watched talking about the relationships, you have to communicate. And the thing is, so many of us are not ready for that conversation. And the thing is, in order to get ready for this type of conversation, it requires an evolution of thought. It requires an evolution of what we believe is right. Because we have to also remember that we are all individual. We all have individual needs. And so if we are not able to identify and participate in those needs, then we need to understand that we only fall in a certain category. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all, but this needs to be communicated, because if it's not something that you can actually adhere to or compromise on, then that's going to open up the door for a lot of hurt and a lot of misunderstanding. And the thing is, unfortunately, for many of us, we are not ready for that conversation. We're not ready for that conversation because we have so much personal attachment to what we believe we are and what we believe we're supposed to do. And it's just like, no, we are only one person. And there are things that only we can do, and there are things that only other people can do, you know, and it doesn't mean that you are any less of a person at all. Because if they chose you to be the person that they spend your life with, and that's all that matters. Understand that you have inherent value just being who you are. And that is what you need to be focused on. Build on that, and you won't go wrong. So, y'all, that's our show. You know how to find us and support us. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review and also take the conversation to our throne room. Links, just like everything else, are in the show notes. Wherever you are, whomever you are, I want to always encourage you to be more introspective and vulnerable with yourself. Know who you are, trust in who you are, and love who you are. I thank you for listening. I appreciate your ears. And I hope that you make every effort to find and keep your peace. Until next time, y'all.